Okay, so November 2nd of 2025. Do you see here? Most of that savings came from meat. Chicken and beef. Chicken, whole chicken, is coming in at $2.49 a pound, 3 birds. Okay, so we'll see how much that is. So that's half price there. And then the beef, well, some of it's on sale, some of it's not. I mean, I'm either going to get what I want or I'm not. Okay, no substitutes. But for the bulk of the beef, I'm saving 50%. So that's, in terms of cost, instead of paying $53 for 2 roasts, I'm paying $26 or so, right? And then I use my PC points to pay basically for the meat. I'm rounding it off at $100. So assuming when I get it, probably save myself $200 versus paying $300. I paid $100. So hold on. Okay, I gotta get moving here in a minute. I got some stuff I'm gonna have to do in a couple of days when it comes to dealing with this meat that I bought, that honestly I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with it. I want to freeze some of it, but I gotta free up a freezer. I'm thinking anti-Chimay's freezer, just clear it all out. I don't know what's in there. I never go downstairs, but basically take out as much as I can. See if I can put it someplace else, or maybe I'll give it to my neighbor next door, depending on what it is. I don't know yet. Maybe I'll just give it to the animals. It depends on what it is, right? And then I want to freeze. I want to make my own hamburger, right? Because that's the reason I bought the beef on sale. And the extra beef where it's fatty, so I can incorporate that into the roast meat, the beef, after it's grounded up. Because I like to know what I'm eating when it comes to hamburger. And then of course there's a few chicken, because I've been buying Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it's way, way, way too much money. And to buy 1 bird frozen frying chicken, it's $15. Right now you get 3 birds for 26, 27, $8 or whatever. So, you know, you get a free bird if you buy it that way. So I'm going to do it that way. Don't ask me where I'm going to put them now. I can always can the hamburger after I grind it up, and yada yada. I can always can the chicken, you know. So it's a hit and miss as to what I'm going to do. But for those that are just plain up, straight up idiotic and don't value food prep in general because they're doing well in life, I'm just saying, in terms of higher incomes, however they get those higher incomes, well, let this be a reminder.
To show you guys, it's a sign of the times. So just cut EBT benefits.
Just cut EBT benefits. Now people are starting to flood the food banks. That's what's happening here in the United States of America.
And then today, they had a food line, and this is what it looks like. Hold on.
You ready? Do you see this? She started way over there. Look at this. Now, I know you can see better than me. Look at this. That's crazy.
What?
All the way down.
The worst part about it is they don't have enough food for everyone here. And I'm literally watching people in line breaking down in tears.
And I'm literally stressing out how I'm going to process this meat that I bought that was on sale and saved me basically $200 versus paying $300. I paid $100. 100 free PC points, which is $100. Getting back on the things that I bought over a period of time, you know, those, right? Kickback things, right? So $100 there and $94 in savings, because basically all I bought was mostly meat. I bought 3 zucchinis, a little banana, but ain't no savings on that, right? I'm just saying.
America, I guess.
If y'all think this is a joke, right? If y'all are...
I saved over $50 just between 2 club pack roasts that are on sale at half price. Yeah. That's the way you gotta do it in order to have food in your house. But I want this more vacuum sealed and frozen because I don't have any more hamburger meat frozen. So I'm going to have to probably vacuum seal if I can make room in the freezer. Which, like I said, I'm thinking just to take everything out of Shemai's little top fridge freezer and maybe start fresh. We'll see.
In this whole food crisis seriously during this moment, especially the creators that I see who are...
Oh yeah, and I'm going to go hunting for this fish because when Andre was doing what Andre was doing when he was putting it away, I think some of it disappeared. I have to go looking for it. So today I'm going to go looking for that fish, and if I find what I want that should be there, I don't know if it is or not though, because, you know, that I'm going to cook it up and work on that fish collagen broth. Yeah. So I'm having to budget in my time for the week. Remember, if you do beef, you got 5 to 6 days or more, just so depending on how fresh the meat is when it comes in, to do whatever it is that you're going to do, right? In terms of vacuum sealing and freezing or canning, okay?
Are making fun of.
Obviously, chicken will have to be dealt with ASAP. You know, no more than 2 days. It's got to be either canned or frozen. I'll cross that bridge when I get it. That's my worry. Right?
Like the government shut down, people who are making fun of the food stamp cuts.
And the only reason I really bought it, it wasn't, when I first seen it, I thought, nah, just let it slide, Judy, you know, catch it next time. It will come around in 3 or 4 months from now at that price. Because the beef on sale is at $6.99 a pound, right? The last time it was on sale, it was $7.99 a pound. So this time now it's $6.99 in terms of buying bulk, right? Where the chicken is $2.49, and that comes around every 3 or 4 months. And I just, you know, I've been buying Kentucky Fried Chicken, paying $50 for 12 pieces of chicken, some coleslaw, and French fries. And I'm telling Andre, no, we need to start making our own. So that's why I bought the chicken, so I can kind of just break away from that habit. And it's not a habit, but, you know, for the last couple of months, I'll say over the last 4 months, I bought Kentucky Fried Chicken like maybe 3 times at $50 a pop. Like, that's ridiculous. No, that's $150. You can buy a lot of chicken for $150 on sale, for crying out loud.
Making fun of all these programs and people out here that's talking about what's going on within the United States, to see how long this line is right here. This is so many people, probably over 500 people lined up just to go out to get food. And like she said, even in the video, there's probably not even enough food to give out to all of these people within this facility. You can't even see the facility within this video right here. I don't even know. Oh, there it is right there. Yes, guys, like, this is real. This is America right now. This is what so many people are.
Canada's going through it too. Okay, so I'm gonna now work on the video that I wanted to work on before I go blind. Honest to God, I don't know what this doctor did to my eyes when I seen him on October 1st or whatever the hell it was. It wasn't even a month, people. And everything has gotten so blurry. Now, I'm going to go see him very soon because, you know, right? He gave me 2 months if we didn't get the pressure down in this eye. Okay, whatever. Like, this is pathetic. So I would suspect he's going to try and send me to a different specialist to do surgery because these drops that I'm using, the extra drops, well, they're either making my eyes blurry, that's what's making them blurry, and it keeps them blurry, or because I had 3 tests with 3 different machines, And then I went to go see the doctor to get the results of those 3 tests all in a row. And then he put freezing agent in it, and it really burned both my eyes. Like, honest to God, I feel like I was sabotaged because it's pathetic. Like, it's so freaking pathetic what's happening in terms of the blurriness. So in the meantime, you know, I'm doing what I can do and what I think is best, okay? So, another way to save money, if you want to look at it like that. Oh, I just seen something. Oh. I'll show you in a minute. Okay. For the things that you buy, whether it's meat, you know, I suppose vegetables. If you grow them, it's even better because then you can can them. Beans especially, eh? Canned beans in a jar will last for years and years and years and years, trust me. If the jar doesn't pop, you're good to go. As long as you don't get no rust on your lid, you're good to go. And they're good, good, good. Buy beans in a can. I don't know what it is with beans, but it's just a matter of time before it eats the can. Hold on a minute. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm looking at right there. Where is it? Oh, man. Lima beans. Oh, my God. Do you see those beautiful lima beans? Oh, my God. I knew I had some, but they're actually quite expensive. And the large ones, honestly, they're hard to find. So, just winding things down. Look at that. Lima beans. 5 pounds. I bought 2 of those as backup. Okay. And what else do we get here? That's lima beans. Just to top off. Whole red lentils. They're not organic, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna sprout. I have some of these around too. Back in the day, when I was ordering from this company, I don't know if you can see that, I can barely see anything. Storehouse Foods, right? When I was ordering those whatever they had 4-gallon jars with, you know, cranberry beans, Great Northern white beans, whole red lentils until they ran out, and then they were split lentils. So I know I have some of these around, but I'm going to pour this into a thing, and I got a little sprouter here, and I want to try and sprout them and see what happens. Either or, they're good. And just a couple more 5-pound bags of organic quinoa. Alright. Just, you know, that mental therapy, right? Okay. Now, when it comes to pain relief, right? Just for these 4 things, I'm telling you, was $70. $70. That's ridiculous. Their muscle joint, every now and then, Andre, he pinches a nerve or whatever, right? Most of my pain is at the bottom of my feet, right? But, you know, extra strength for just heat rubs and muscle aches and arthritis and just whatever, right? And then I've got one here, non-heating, effective relief of pain, swelling, and oh my god, well, it says bruising. I don't know, it just, I bought it because it said non-heating. Only one. And in for 12 hours between treatment. So you can use this every 12 hours, I guess. I don't know. Either or, 70 bucks. I felt that that was not a very good value for the money. But I have them now. So, if I need it, I have it. If Andre gets this little pinched nerve, you know how you get them in between the shoulder blades, underneath the blade, those kind of things I have, right? But besides that point, I decided I'm going to make my own rub, slab, whatever you want to call it. Not so much a lotion as it is just rub it on, right? Depending on what ingredients I use and for what purpose. Like my son, for example, because he's very active with his work in terms of climbing trees 200, 300 feet high, and, you know, having to saw, and, you know, he's been doing it for quite a few years, right? So, you know, he's very, you know, he's very strong, but, you know, he has to be very tense while he does these things in order to control the chainsaw, and, you know, because the trees can balance and they start swinging, and, you know, and just whatever. So what I'm trying to say is, I think through, and he works outside in all types of weather, right? Rain, shine, snow, boiling heat, just whatever. It's a 12-month affair with him. 5 days a week sometimes, most of the time. Probably a good 94% of the time he's outside working. Okay. Every day outside within a year, 94% of the time. So what's happening is his joints pop a lot. He never talks about it, but Andre tells me he hears his joints popping, his knees, you know, whatever, just whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to make a rub to give to him. Whether he'll use it or not, I don't know yet. And I know I'm thinking what I can use to help alleviate that. I don't think it would cure it, but it might help to alleviate it a bit, especially if he used it quite regularly. So, of course, the first thing you want to do is make it affordable, right? And, you know, you have a bit of wiggle room in there in terms of what type of ingredients that you're going to use as either a heating agent. Usually if you're doing a heat rub, homemade heat rub, you use cayenne pepper, right? Garlic, ginger, whatever. Okay, so anyway, I have the jars. I bought them a long time ago for this. I wanted to do this a couple of years ago, okay? And I know I bought cocoa butter. It's in my room in a bucket. I don't know if I ever bought shea butter. But I was starting to, you know, gather up to make that. I actually did take some comfrey leaves and put them in olive oil in a jar, and oregano leaves in another jar with olive oil. And they'd been sitting in my room seeping. So I could technically still use that to make a rub, especially the comfrey, because comfrey is a bone knitting herb, right? It heals bones and that type of stuff. Hold on a minute. Okay, I don't think you're gonna really see me here versus you're gonna hear me talk. Because this little guy, he's got me wrapped around his little finger right now. Yeah. Every now and then, he wants his cuddle time. Yeah. So, it's just him and I. I'm stretching out his skinny winny little right arm that's always tight. And as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about these rubs that I'm going to be making, of course I'm going to be making for Amari as well, right? So I'll do like for Andre and Marcane, right? And I suppose like that would, I don't know, like I'm going to make different kinds. I'm going to do a heat one. I'm going to do a joint and bone one for my son, which will help with cartilage, right? Which would be good for Amari. The only thing is, Amari, I'd probably have to just maybe not make it as strong, right? You know, because he's just a little guy, right? And like what I'm doing right now, with the ingredients that I'm thinking to use, I'm not sure exactly how much and how I'm going to put them together yet. But I could be rubbing it on his like elbow area that pops and cracks, and because it's always, you know, it's tight, right? Because of the cerebral palsy. And then up in his little hand area, I know you can't see, but you know, I could massage that with that. And because they're natural ingredients for the most part, right? In terms of spices and roots, right? Or leaves, herbs, spices, and roots, okay? And then, of course, you've got essential oils as well, if you want to use, right? So, I guess I should get a book or something, maybe, and, you know, start writing things down into their specific categories as to what I want them to, you know, help with, right? So anything to do with popping joints, I can do for Marcane and I can do for Amari, but I'd have to just do it in a different strength. So cut it by half. Full strength for Marcane, whatever that means, and then half the strength for Amari. And because they're natural, right, you can use them more than once a day. Oh yeah. Because I'm going to be using nutmeg. What else did I got there? We'll go through that box, okay? The Kinder box. Whatever. I'm determined to do this. Yeah. I have the jars. I bought some fresh coconut butter, right? I've got tons of olive oil new in a can I haven't used if I want. Unopened, whatever. I have, I bought shea butter, fresh shea butter, and I got whatever I've got in my room from back in the day, which more than likely is still good, but of course you don't know until you open it, right? Apparently shea butter can last for a very, 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 very long time, right? But it all depends on how it's being stored and at what temperature and yada yada yada. But you know, if it goes rancid, you'll know. So I have to go digging around in my room, and I don't think I have shea butter, but I'm pretty sure I have cocoa butter. Coca butter, I guess, which is kind of like a shea butter, but it comes from the cocoa bean or something. I don't know. But you can use that too for these types of things. Yeah. So there you go. Oh, there you go. Oh my Lord. Sometimes he gets a little needy. Oh yeah. And he just wants his cuddles. I put him in my lap and he just glues himself. You just glue yourself, don't you? You're not trying to get away. Oh no. Don't you be trying to grab that camera. Yeah. Yeah. Upset tummy. Yeah. Upset tummy, is that it? You got an upset tummy? Maybe a little bit. Yeah. And then I rub that tummy. And then I rub that tummy. It doesn't feel that bad. No, it doesn't feel that bad. Just maybe supplemental drinks are constipating him. Well, we knew that was going to happen. We knew that was going to happen. I got to get some more spinach in you. Yeah, spinach is a natural laxative. I got to feed you spinach and bok choy. I got to do that every day. Every day. Yeah, now I need to get back up on that bandwagon. Oh, it's hard to stay on all these bandwagons, man. Yeah. My little bumblebee. He's a little bumblebee. Huh? You're just a cuddle bug? Yes, you are. Won't be long before you're going to be bouncing around all over the place. Yeah. Most of the time, he's pretty content just to lay in here on my side over here and just kind of be close to Andre. He likes that. He'll stay quiet. But his little talking bears, I don't know. They disappeared. We need to find them. Yeah, you miss your talking bears? Is that it? Is that what's going on here? Well, we're going to look for them today at some point. We're going to find them. Yeah. Andre, he just tosses things. So annoying. He was a little copacetic early in the morning when I woke up. And I told him to turn off the TV. He didn't argue with me. So that's good. I think I woke up at, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning. So he's past his pouting stage, hopefully. He was pouting hard after I took that cord away. After I took that cord away, Andre was pouting hard. But by the time I woke up, because, I have different hours, right? I said, what are you watching? Turn off that TV. You're not supposed to be watching TV. Go to sleep. And he did. He didn't argue. He wasn't rude to me. Right? That means he's open for discussion. He's open for discussion, so we're going to talk about what it means to grow up and what it means to be respectful, what it means to be, a decent human being that's polite and trustworthy. Just keep on trying. That's all you do. I'm going to try and get him to be more involved with the taking accountability process, where he's not just saying it, but he actually stops and thinks about his behavior and accepts that what he's doing is wrong and it's inappropriate and it's not a good habit to get into. Shush up. Right? And if he can do that in a genuine kind of way, well, then maybe I'll cut him some slack. All right. But we have to put more of a schedule in. I'll have to write it where he can see it visually every day, so it's not easy to ignore. What's Mickey? Is that Mickey? Psst, Mickey. What are you doing, Mickey? So yeah, we're gonna make for Amari a rub too. Yeah. So I'll be back in a minute. Oh yeah. Can you see? Do you see yourself? Do you see yourself? Is that you? It's Amari. It's Amari. It's Amari. Yeah. Okay, so I'm here for a minute, and then I'm gonna go back. I'm recharging the camera because we know this camera blinks out. If you notice, I'm not investing my money into a camera. I don't care if it's an old school camcorder or a new camera. I'm working with what I've got right now. I'm penny pinching, believe it or not. Okay, so I just want to listen to this person here for a bit, right? And she's pretty balanced, actually. I should actually subscribe to her channel. I don't want to join. I want to subscribe. Oh, I'm already subscribed. Maybe I've subscribed. I don't know. Oh, maybe I subscribed. Either or. Anyway, count your days. Now, this was done 2 days ago, so, you know, we're on November 2nd, and everything right now is quiet on quote-unquote YouTube when it relates to people going insane because they're not getting their food money, however it comes in through the various federal programs, which is a central social service entity in the United States of America. Okay. Count your days. Layoff surge. Food banks overflow with federal workers plus the big beautiful boycott. Alright. So let's just listen to this for a minute. Okay, because obviously I created myself some work with this meat that I'm going to have to deal with. I know what I want, but I have to do more work to get room for where I want to put it if I want to freeze it. Otherwise, I'm going to can it. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's just listen to this for a minute.
30 of the government shutdown.
And of course, I'm not there, so he's whimpering for me because he's needy today. I mean, you seen he was fine. He just wanted to be a stick-on baby. Just glue himself to me. All right.
And there is no end in sight, unfortunately. The uncertainty is affecting many, many military families.
Under the Fair Use Act, right? Who are left wondering if their paychecks will stop.
Left wondering if their paychecks will stop, or even worse, food aid may end.
It's hours before sunrise, but already soldiers are in line. They're not reporting for duty, but for rations with their...
Yeah, did you hear that? Soldiers in line. So what, soldiers aren't getting paid? What's going on here?
families at the Armed Services YMCA Food Pantry. This busy location helps junior enlisted soldiers just a few miles from Fort Hood in Harker Heights, Texas.
It's a full-time job trying to make sure that we have enough food on the table.
Megan Holliday and Michelle Italy are wives of soldiers and know all too well an army marches on its stomach. With 6 kids between them and their husbands on enlisted salaries, they need help keeping everyone fed.
There's a lot of people who say, wait, there's military families waiting in line at a food pantry. Should people be surprised about that?
No, they shouldn't, because we live in poverty just like everybody else. We really do.
So,
oh, the big taboo. So I'm going to add this link to the description box. Let's just move forward and see what else she's pulled up. Is it? Oh my God. Okay, you know why they do that, right? In terms of YouTube. Back in the day, YouTube never had ads. Never had ads. Nope. Oh, it was great. Yeah. Now they put so many in there that they make you want to get their family premium deal so you don't have to watch the ads. They want you to sign up with YouTube first before you sign up with the subscriber. Yeah.
it means a lot to me. It means the world to me what they're doing, because sometimes you feel forgotten. You go to work to help people. That's our job, to help people. That's all we do. We go in every single day. This is day 28. The last paycheck we got was for 7 days through the end of September. And that's it. But we've been there every single day. We've been there every day. Who's thinking of us? We didn't hurt anybody. I promise you, we give our best. We have good people that go to work every single day to give their best. I'm sorry. No, it's okay.
I mean, this situation is so sad, and this is what I was saying when we had the Zoom meeting yesterday. You know, just going through the airport in Atlanta, I went down through Clear, and the line was super long. I mean, I couldn't even imagine what the standard line looked like, but I went through.
So what, airports having problem? Unpaid government workers break down in tears while waiting at food pantry. We don't hurt anybody. What's the next one? We're just kind of moving around. Federal workers turn to food banks amid shutdowns. Now, in regards to the EBT payments, somebody took somebody to court, and there may be some sort of redirecting of contingency funds that are on lockdown, but due to the circumstances, might be distributed between the states. All states, some states, I don't know, where the state then distributes it to either food pantries or, food banks, soup kitchens, and maybe not so much people's personal debit cards as versus a community initiative, just to, I don't know what, calm people down. Okay. Let's see what this one's about. Oh, now it's looping on me. Oh, lordy, 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 lordy. If it's not one thing, it's something else. Alright, look at that. Can you see what's
We're working really hard just to survive. Just remember that.
There's a lot of uncertainty. Bills continue to pile up.
Federal workers missed their first full paycheck today, and many of them now struggling to just put food on.
Oh, he's getting more, I don't want to say aggressive, maybe more boyish, more boisterous, more loud. He's discovering his voice can get quite loud when he wants to make it loud. Okay, let's go here. Furlough federal workers line up at food bank as the missed first full paycheck amid shutdown. So, you've got 42 million people on SNAP benefits, EBT, WIC, all that other food supplement, federal subsidized initiatives, as well as now you've got these people coming in on the ranks, going to the same food banks that everybody else is going to. Wow.
Contractors, are you covered?
You can see this, right? Okay. It's like playing tug-of-war with YouTube. Buy our subscription. Yank, 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 yank. Pull back. No, I can't afford it. Why would I? You shadow ban my channel. You treat me like your personal biatch, right? I don't think so. Why would I want to, right? Either or. SNAP funding to expire November 1st. Well, we're on November 2nd, and we haven't heard anything in terms of breaking news. Okay?
In a statement he released, he said in part that the SNAP program is a federally funded and operated program, and Tennessee is, quote, unable to utilize state dollars to provide the benefit and does not have the mechanism to load benefit onto customer cards. Those are those EBT cards that those SNAP recipients use. Of course, that does not necessarily make everyone here happy. The Democratic caucus chair of the Tennessee House of Representatives, that's John Ray Clemens, wrote to the governor and said this is imperative that we come together, take immediate action, and appropriate sufficient funding, adding, choosing to stand idly by while children go hungry.
So, is this the first stages of offloading from a federal level onto states, right? Because that's what governments like to do, offload when they're not covering up crimes, right?
They don't want it with Target and Walmart and all that stuff. So, are things becoming more clear that this whole DEI and rollback of DEI is being done to definitely cripple and get people out of certain positions? So the whole black team got fired, but none of his white co-workers were fired at all.
Okay, so what was that? Now we've got racial profiling. Let's go here.
The door by paying pennies on the dollar, by making sure that shareholders keep smiling. That is the entire play. And see, here's the kicker. Rich people don't just want their slice of the pie. They want the whole bakery. And they're going to get it one layoff at a time.
I just got laid off from my job at CBS, and every producer on my team who got laid off is a person of color. Every person who gets to stay and will be relocated within the company is a white person. Now, in my meeting with the executive who told me I was getting laid off.
In Canada, every white person is getting laid off, and they're not being hired as they're being replaced with brown people from India and places like that. Yeah, it's the opposite. So take that with a grain of salt, okay?
I specifically asked him if it was
white kids like Andre that are technically black, right? But you just don't see a lot of the black in him, can go to a grocery store and get targeted by immigrants that are working at security. And then try and ban them from the stores. They're accusing them of stealing but have no proof. And then when my son shows up and says, I want to see the proof, they go to the camera, and the kid that she said that, you know, was Andre didn't look anything like Andre, and there was another kid with them. So, some of this stuff you just got to take with a grain of salt.
Consideration for us to be relocated somewhere else.
This is where people just come with that verbal diarrhea, and and just because you can open your mouth doesn't mean you can talk and formulate a sentence. It doesn't mean that you're intelligent or that you have wisdom or critical thinking skills, or right?
In the company, and he said that we advocated to keep the show. We advocated to try to get you relocated somewhere, and we couldn't. Because I asked him, why are you the person who is making this decision or delivering the news that we're being laid off? And he said, oh, it could have been anyone. Only to later find out, because it wasn't until I went downstairs thinking that me and all of my colleagues had been laid off, that I found out that it was only the people of color. So...
Okay, hold up now. Objection. Okay, my tin hat is tingling. If you guys remember, CBS was recently bought by David Ellison, who is a huge MAGA supporter. This administration, since they've gotten into office, they have fought hard to get rid of DEI. Everybody's DEI, from pilots to people who work on these shows. They don't want DEI hires. They don't want it with Target and Walmart and all that stuff. So, are things becoming more clear that this whole DEI and rollback of DEI is being done to definitely cripple and get people out of certain positions? So the whole black team got fired, but none of his white co-workers were fired at all. And like I said, the person who now owns CBS is David Ellison. Things that make you go,
But he did get to decide who got to stay. So I told him.
Okay.
Yeah, layoff.
Are you watching that? Okay, let's finish up. Maybe I'll just upload this little video as the introduction to what's coming when it comes to these heat rubs and joint rubs and, right, bone rubs and cartilage rubs and just whatever rubs. So basically what I did is I just ordered a few things. Now, I have Italian seasoning around somewhere. I'll look for it. Old, I've got some in jars, put away. Anyway, I just picked up because, you know, we're going to be getting into our pizza pockets and whatever, so I just want it fresh. Got to jar that up. Alright. And then I got dandelion, organic dandelion root. 5 pounds. It was a bit expensive. Now, I could go out into my yard and dig, and I have a few that I did pass in the past. I dug up in my yard, and I sprayed them down and washed them really good, chopped them up and dehydrated or whatever, and I've got a few little jars kicking around. But, you know, actually working with maybe when the spring comes, if I can see, right, and I have the time and the energy, maybe I'll go out there in the yard and I'll dig around for some dandelion roots, and because, you know, when you dig them up, right, they're really hard to clean. But anyway, I got this, which you can either use for tea, right, 5 pounds, which you can either use for tea, or I'm going to use it in one of my rubs. We'll just call them a rub, right? Body rub of some kind, right? Body healing rub. We'll call it a body healing rub or something along those lines. I don't know. I'm just experimenting. I thought that because dandelions have healing properties, right? I mean, ideally you want to ingest it, whether you eat the leaf, the flower, or have the root. I suppose you could shred it and eat it after you do whatever you want with it, or you can just make it as a tea. So I bought it anyway. So I figure, you know, maybe, I don't know, start making some tea with it anyway, and keep that in mind, because, you know, you want, so like comfrey, for example, I would mix that dandelion root with comfrey, because comfrey is to help to heal bones, and right, it speeds up the healing process. Yeah. Anyway, I have to take notes. I read. Okay, so what else we got? Now I have a big 5-pound bag of this kicking around somewhere. I haven't jarred it up yet. I've got the jars now, so I'm kind of looking for it, but I don't know in what bucket it's in. So it's somewhere around here. So just on the safe side, I bought just a little 1-pound pouch of cayenne pepper, so I know I have it, right? Handy dandy. And I'm ready, because I kind of want to get up on this ASAP. And then because I'm doing meats, like as a matter of fact, with the beef that I bought, I am going to make 2 luncheon meats, beef deli meats. I'm going to make 2 deli meats, and I'm going to slice them this time after they're done, and I'll give to my son, right? But this time it will come in sliced, and he can freeze them, right? I'll put them in between, or he can put them in between wax paper and freeze them, and have them for sandwiches and stuff. And I'll do some I'll do whatever I can with my eyes slicing this meat. But I'd like to make 2 deli meats with beef. And the last time I did that with the turkey, oh, it was really good, really. You know, I've the paprika, so I ended up buying fresh paprika, because, you know, right, for deli meats, basically, or hot dogs or whatever. Okay, I'll just put that there for now. Allspice. Now I've got old spices up there that I'm going to get into, and these are new, right? These ones are new. And when they're whole like this, okay, they really don't go bad, especially if you've got them in airtight containers and stuff. Stuff like this will stay for years and years and years and years and years. So anyway, I know I've got something up there in that cupboard when it comes to spices and stuff, right? So I'm going to probably clear everything out at some point and rearrange. And for these ones, the new ones, right, I'm not sure how I want to do this yet. Oh, you're fine. You're just gooning, man. I mean, alright, use these jars. Okay, so they're ready to go. So that's more than, that would take up 2 jars. So, or I can put these, in a 1 amber, because I got, right, 12 of them, 1 liter amber jars. I could fill up the whole jar, and I'd still have a little bit left, I'm sure. And then I've got the jars, the amber jars that I wanted to use to make for these rubs and creams. And then I was going to put salt in them, because they're over there, right? I haven't used them yet. I'm pretty sure they're amber. Instead of putting salt in them, I haven't done anything, right? Because, you know, I got no counter space, so they're nice little, I don't know, 4-ounce size jars or something. They're, you know, just enough just so that you can open, take a pinch, and when the jar goes down, you can just fill it up, right? So maybe I'll go grab those jars, and maybe I'll take these, the new ones, and fill up those for cooking or for making rubs, because I plan on using allspice in my rubs. Body rubs. Therapeutic body rubs. We'll call them therapeutic body rubs. Okay? As well as cloves. Now I've got cloves, so maybe when I go to make the body rubs, the therapeutic body rubs, I take a tablespoon of the old and I combine it with a tablespoon of the new, because all you're going to do is saturate your oils, whether it's coconut oil, olive oil, or whatever oil you're using, right? You saturate, you either let them sit for months to seep into the oil, or you can heat on the stove, right? This is what we're going to do. So cloves is another one, because they have healing properties. Normally cloves are used for dental pain relief, that type of thing, but they have healing properties in them. So I bought them for that reason. Okay, so we're going to use those. And then I have my own comfrey leaves around, so I'll find them. Plus, I have comfrey growing in my yard, but they're not fresh right now. I just wanted, now this comfrey came from, I think it was Africa. Came from Africa. Product of, Bulgaria. This is from Bulgaria. There's a product in here that came from Africa. I don't know. Anyway, this is comfrey from Africa. It's a root. Okay, so it's comfrey root. I have comfrey leaves. So, and I already got, like I said, some comfrey that's been seeping in olive oil that's been sitting in my room now for a couple of years. So when I'm ready to start mucking around with this, I'm going to pull that out, and we're going to, right, it's called infusing. You're infusing the properties of the, whatever it is that you're using into your carrier oils, right? So this I bought specifically for my son, but this would also be good for Amari, or anybody really that's got aches and pains, especially when it comes with their bones, right? So you'd have to combine this with something, and I can't remember, I need to take notes on this. There is something here that I bought that helps to heal cartilage. Sue's and Heal's cartilage. So you'd want to combine this with that product, right? Okay, so we got that. What else we got? Oh, okay, so clove powder, nice 1 pound bag. You can see that's a lot. Okay, so I bought the cloves and I bought the clove powder. You can do either powder when you're infusing your oils to bring in your properties, whatever properties you're wanting to bring into the rub, right? The therapeutic rub. Or you can, use the actual herb itself, whether you crush it or, seep it whole, right? Obviously, the more the more the spices in whole, like a nutmeg, a clove, or whatever, the more it's in a whole state, the fresher it will last. Once you start grinding it up into powders, it's convenient when you want to make a spice cake, to which, now that I'm on this bandwagon with all these herbs, I am going to make the rubs with them, as well as get into the habit of making spice cake on a regular basis. So not only are you getting the herb on the outside on a therapeutic level, right, penetrating your skin and then into whatever it is that you're targeting, muscles, tendons, bones, cartilage, right, localized pain, whatever it is. In this situation, you're bringing in anti-inflammatories internally. So I bought that just either to use as a powder for infusing into oils, or basically to start making cakes, because mine had been sitting up there for years. So I just want to stay fresh. Not to say I won't use the old ones. I have to smell them and taste them and everything, and chances are they'll be fine. It's when you're opening and closing, opening and closing, opening and closing, that becomes the problem, because you're allowing oxygen into the container. Right? So if, something's been sitting for a long time, it hasn't been opened in a couple of years, chances are it'll be fine, like that ginger from 2015. Like, holy moly, you couldn't get any more hot ginger than that. Like, seriously. and that's because it was never opened in 10 years. That's why. Right? Okay. So I have to get up there and see what's going on. All right. And then we've got powdered allspice, because I'm going to start making spice cakes for the kids. Teach Andre how to make a spice cake. Easy peasy, right? You don't even have to really take a blender to it. You could all whip it up by freaking hand if you wanted to, and I've got tons and tons of cookbooks here. So I am going to get into some of my cookbooks and start pulling out some recipes while I can still see. It looks like I bought 2 comfrey because of its healing properties. Okay? Plus, come spring, throughout the year, I can go out in my yard and dig around for my own roots from the plants that I have in the yard. And then, of course, nutmeg. Now, I have lots of nutmeg kicking around. I have something kicking around. Anyway, I've got other things, right? And I know I've got some of these up in there. But, I never really get a chance to cook. None of all this stupid crap, right? So, I have to find my way to it, right? So this will get me motivated. And if I'm successful at doing what I'm thinking I'm doing is right, and it makes a difference, it helps out a little bit here and there, then somebody else can pick up where I left off, right? Right? I'm just showing the way. Showing you what you can do. Okay, so we've got these. I've got other things around, right? I'm going to get into this cupboard where I have a bunch of spices down there. see, pull out a few things. I'm going to clear out this cupboard, just do an inventory, you know, maybe I'll just, right, clear out that cupboard. Anyway, that's for another day. So that's nutmeg. So we got allspice, nutmeg, right? And then what else? Another bag of something here. It's heavy. I don't know what it is. What is this? Okay, so these are ginger pieces. Organic matters. If you can see, this is nice. Look how nice that is. Now I have dehydrated ginger around the house in different jars here, there, and everywhere, right? It's just a matter of finding them. So, you know, as I find them, I'll try and put them in a central location where I can use them, whether in food or whether with rubs, right? Therapeutic health rubs, okay? Because ginger is something you can use for that purpose. So, of course, you can use it for tea, right? So, you know, for me, it was worth the investment because I don't have them cut like this. Mine are like bigger pieces, or they're shredded, or they're in larger pieces, right? Depending on where they are, in what jar. With this, just seems convenient. So I bought it. And I really want to give up on coffee, at least half of what I drink in a day. Oh, that's going to be rough. And replace it with stuff like this. Yeah. And then here's another bag that's quite heavy. Ooh, look at that. Turmeric. Alright, we got the turmeric. I was supposed to have pepper. What happened to my pepper? Oh no, I bought pepper from Canadian Superstore. Just cheap pepper. Plus I've got pepper in my room in jars, but I don't know where it is. Well, I kind of know where it is. I just don't want to dig for it. So I settled for cheap black pepper from, you know, a little container, 900 grams or whatever, for whatever it was, and it was fine. Just because you can use turmeric in these rubs as well. And if anytime you use turmeric, they always say add a little pepper in with it. So I just figured, well, I'll just throw in some pepper. Right? And I've got also a container full. I know there's a container full. I think it's in behind all those buckets there. Of turmeric that I dehydrated whole. Right? The turmeric looks like, you know, they come in like little long pieces like this, eh? So they're all dehydrated whole. So once I find those, I can use those for the therapeutic health rubs or whatever. Yeah. So we got that there. And then, if I'm giving to somebody, like I'm going to give to my son, you know, you kind of want to use products that are kind of like fresh. Because, again, I've got cocoa butter in my room because I wanted to do something similar like this a couple of years back with Tisha and Leia May and whatever, but Tisha's not, that's not Tisha's thing. She doesn't care about stuff like that. She just go buy it, right? Plus, I haven't had a chance just to do anything with it yet. So I don't know exactly what it's going to be like when I open up whatever container it's in. And I'm not sure if I got shea butter or not. So I am going to use some shea butter. And I don't know anything about shea butter except for the one video or so that I watched, to which, if shea butter is in a sealed container, obviously out of light, right? And in a cool environment, you know, you don't want it hot, right? Because it will melt. It will last for years. But the secret to it is you have to fill up the container basically right to the top, right? In terms of storing it before you get to it. So I bought this one little container so that when I open it, I get a feel for what I'm dealing with, because I can't see the colors. So that's where Andre will have to practice, right? In terms of identifying the colors, right? And then also because it's new, I'm able to smell it, right? To determine what a fresh batch. But just because you bought it new doesn't mean that it's fresh, because it comes from Africa, right? And well, I don't know. Is this Africa? Burkina Faso? Is that Africa? Is that somewhere in Africa? I don't know. But by the time it gets to you through transport, it might not be as fresh as it should be, but I'm assuming it's fresh. So we got a little one, and then because I plan on making more than just a couple of jars, I got a bucket. So when I open up this bucket, what I would do is, this is a good box to start filling up some craft stuff for Tisha and the kids. This is exactly what I wanted. Oh, isn't that just great? I got a box. It's a nice sized box. I can fill this box up full of crafts, paper, all kinds of stuff for Tisha, for her kids. So there's another little project I have to do. So when you open up the bucket, unless you're going to use it all at one time, it is recommended that you put them into separate containers. You divide it into other containers, smaller, right? So, you know, on average, maybe a pint size. Separate containers, whatever, right? I'm going to use pint-sized jars more than likely, unless, of course, I use them for canning this beef, which I don't want to can. I want to freeze, and I want to make that deli meat with, right? Because I want hamburger. I bought it specifically to make hamburger and deli meat. Yeah. That's what I bought it for. Hopefully I won't have to can it. It depends how much freezer space I can freeze up wherever I go. And I'm hoping to clear out Shimei's freezer completely, so I'll have it start fresh. I want to start fresh, right? And then whatever's in her freezer, I'll deal with it when I get there. And I don't know. I don't even know. I never go downstairs. So. And I'll just tell my son, don't touch my beef, don't touch my chicken. So anyway, when you open up the bucket, if you buy it this way, it's recommended that you take it out of the bucket and re-jar it up. And when you do, bring up your shea butter basically right to the top. Why don't we look at this one? It's not going to hurt, right? I can always put it in the fridge. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. Again, I don't know anything about it. Do you see how high up on the rim it is? Do you see how high up on the rim it is? It's like right to the very, very top. The reason they do that is to keep the air out of it so it doesn't oxidize and go rancid. So if you can do that, and then I suppose even seal your jar if you wanted to, or at least put the lid on it, and then put it in a cool, dark place. Chances of it going bad over a period of, years, it's low. It could sit for 3 to 5 years or so, or maybe more for all we know. But that's the secret. You have to bring it right to the top and put them into smaller, and make sure your jars are, I'd sterilize them. Yeah, not that bacteria can really grow in oils, but I'd still sterilize them. Yeah, so whatever size jar you're going to use, just something that, right? And then this way, if you decide to get into this kind of stuff, I mean, obviously there's an initial investment into it versus convenience. Like, you buy this stuff like this for convenience purposes, and you think that's all that's available when it comes to aches and pains, right? When it comes to rubs and heat rubs and arthritis rubs and or whatever, right? When, you can do it this way. And, I mean, like, it depends how much you use out of the total bill and how much you get after the fact. But I would think if you got good at it, right, in terms of knowing the properties of the herbs, spices, and other elements that you're using, right? And what they're, what they help to make feel better or heal or whatever, or alleviate pain. I just think this might be a better way to do it, because I'll use this for example. Back in the day, I remember Shimei, Tisha, even Uncle John massaging my bottom of my feet using I don't know if it's a similar type of cream, I suppose, but look how big that is. And in those days, we weren't facing shrinkflation, so the tubes were bigger. Honestly, those rubs, they didn't last very long, right? Like, this ain't gonna last very long, right? And another thing is, you don't know what kind, I don't want to say chemicals that they're using in them, but you don't know what all their ingredients are, and you got to be careful, especially when you got, like a child like Amari around. It's not like I can rub this on myself or whatever, put it in here. We'll just say, I'm so sorry, right, and then go lay down on the couch with the pillow, and then get up, and then Amari comes, and then now he's laying on my pillow with this crap on it. Like, I'd rather him be laying on my pillow with shea butter, coconut oil, or olive oil with some spices, and maybe a few drops of peppermint. Peppermint oil in terms of like a extract, like a tea tree oil or a peppermint extract oil or something like that, right? Versus I don't know, like, you got to be careful, right? Does it smell? This one I think has a smell. And then of course they have their smells too. So depending on how you put your stuff together, how I don't really smell anything. But is it even there? No, it's closed, so I wouldn't be, it's sealed, I wouldn't know. But you know how you have Old Spice soap bars? It smells like Old Spice, right? It's not a bad smell, that's a nice smell. Well, you can make your rubs have certain smells like that too, just with the herbs, like the spices, right? The nutmeg, the allspice, the cloves, right? And, you know, because it's all external, you're not ingesting it. Because you have to be careful with nutmeg. Nutmeg can make you sick if you eat too much of it, right? And give you hallucinations and all that stupid shit. So you got to be careful. But that's eating it. That's ingesting it. That's not having it on the outside with your body absorbing some of the properties, you know, on that, you know, I don't know how many layers down. It depends on what you do. Like if you had a real pain, let's just say, I mean, you have the option of, like, say your pain is here, okay, right in that joint, right in here, right, okay, that's Amari. Amari would be in here, right? Amari, I would just rub a little bit every day, maybe 2-3 times a day, depends, right? Up in here, well, it would be his right arm mostly, and his left, right? Everything on the right side, mostly, right? In here, in here, in here, and then of course down the leg. The foot's a problem with it curling like this. But because the rub is on the outside, it's not affecting his organs as if I was feeding him quote unquote nutmeg in excessive doses. So when you make your spice cake, you know, it's like only a quarter, not even an eighth of a teaspoon. In nutmeg would probably be about 1/8 of a teaspoon in your spice cake, in comparison to the allspice and the cloves and the cinnamon, and even cinnamon. And I have cinnamon. Cinnamon is very expensive too, and I bought the cinnamon that is even better than just regular store-bought cinnamon, because it has I don't know, it's not as toxic, because cinnamon can be toxic, believe it or not. So you got to eat that in moderation, right? And then there's like 2 types of cinnamon. I can't think of the name right now, but I bought, it's in my room. I jarred them up already, and I've got cinnamon over there, and I've got cinnamon bark up in there. So I didn't buy cinnamon, but you can add cinnamon to these rubs as well. And it's not like you're putting in the powder and then you scoop up your rub and you're rubbing cinnamon all over you. No, that's not what you're doing. You're taking the cinnamon, and then you decide what your carrier oil is, whether it's, and I bought this fresh, right, to start, okay, this one right here, from Canadian Superstore. It says organic coconut oil. All right, so I got that. That was about 20 bucks, 22 bucks, something like that. So what you do in that situation, if you're using that as a carrier oil versus an olive oil, right, you scoop up how much you need. You put it into I guess a double broiler. So I gotta go looking in there and see. I have a double broiler, a glass one, a plexiglass, old school grannies from the 60s and 50s. I need to find it. Yeah, I think it's in that cupboard over there. Anyway, you put it into a double broiler, and then you warm it up gently, right? And then once it starts to melt, that's when you put your spices in, or whatever you're using as a means to bring in that therapeutic healing property, right? If all you want is a heat rub, then you just throw in a couple of tablespoons of cayenne pepper, and you heat it, you let it cool down, and then you gently heat it. You don't bring it to a boil. You just want it to have it melt and let it sit and seep. Turn off the heat, let it, right? Okay, and then bring it back, because it solidifies, right? It solidifies, unless of course maybe you know those and I have them around the house too. I just have to find them. I don't know where they are. You know, back in the old days, those little plug-in pot puree little crock pots that you put your puree flours in, and you plug it in, and a little bit of water, and it makes everything smell nice. Well, you could use that if you wanted to, right? And then that will be a little more ongoing in terms of it doesn't cook the coconut as it would just keeping it melted. So whatever you put in as your therapeutic material, whether it's comfrey roots, ginger, turmeric, cayenne, whatever, allspice, cloves, whatever, okay? I'm just giving you things to think about here, okay? After it's seeped for a while, enough times, do it 5 to 10 times. Heat it up. If you're going to do it on a stove in a double broiler, you heat it up, you melt it, stir it around, put your stuff in there, let it cool down. When it cools down, heat it up again, just enough for it to melt, stir it around, turn it off the stove, let it cool down, right? And then do that over and over and over until everything that's been, that's in whatever you put in there is now infused itself into your coconut oil. Not butter, oil. Because butter is gritty, has fiber in it. And then we've got some virgin coconut oil, which is organic, that should have been this size, but for whatever reason came in on this size. So I went to, but they were charging me for the full size. So I went and I put down wrong product or whatever it was. I didn't get what I ordered. And then they reimbursed me for it. So this actually came in free. So that's a bonus. And I've got coconut oils in my room. I know Rhea, I think, took a few of them. Yeah, I do. She took a few, but nothing fancy because I don't really cook with coconut oil. But I'm going to look for the older ones as well, right? And if I find an older one, you open it up, right? I mean, chances are it will still be fine as long as it's not been opened. And my room gets, the only time it gets kind of warm in there is for that 1 or 2, 3, well, maybe 2 months within the summer. And that's just at the height of summer. And even then I run a fan in there to try and keep it cool. And that kind of thing would be down deep underneath something in the dark, closer to the floor, which is even cooler, right? So in a situation like that, if I find 1 or 2, I'd pull them out, and then I'd probably mix in half and half. Half new, half old, okay? So, but you need the shea butter or some kind of, and beeswax. And beeswax. And I got lots of beeswax. Yeah. Beeswax that wasn't taken from my house because I've had a few pieces disappear. Yeah. And I think I know where they went to. So besides that point, so you need beeswax, shea butter, coca, I don't know. That kind of butter comes from the coca bean, and you need some kind of either olive oil, I don't know, whatever other oil you want to use. You can use glycerin and all that other crap. I had bought, they were in bottles, but the bottles, they started to deteriorate, and I ended up chucking it out, so I kind of lost my money on that because nothing manifested from it when I wanted to do it back in the day, because it just didn't happen. But now I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make specialty for my son, whether he uses it or not, right? I would highly recommend that he at least gives it a shot, considering what's happening to his body, which is probably a lot of it being work-related. In a situation like that, anything could help, right? So this might help him. Obviously, a little something for Amari, right? And then, Andre, only when he injures himself does he, like he went to a birthday party and he was in some sort of a trampoline dome with 50 kids all bouncing around, and apparently he was bouncing and flipping, right? And then he landed and he kind of injured himself, and because he didn't stretch before he started doing all that crap, he ended up pinching a nerve, which is a nerve that he's pinched before. And so, you know, for a situation like that, it would work. For me, obviously, under my feet, I'd love to have my feet done with something that's not going to make, you know, I'm a little, not only is this expensive, one of them is like $17 a tube. The other one is maybe $15 or $13. Like I said, just for those four, it was $70. I mean, what the hell are you getting? 365 grams of something that, you know, it's not like I can just have Andre rub my feet for a little while and then just put my feet wherever and let that stuff just rub around with Amari rubbing moving. No, it's not gonna happen. I'd have to wear socks after the fact, or whatever, or go wash my feet after the fact, which kind of defeats the purpose. Not only that, that's $70. How long do you think that's gonna last, huh? Especially if you need it on a more regular basis. What my son is going through is something that he would need on a more regular basis. What my, you know, Amari is going through, technically he needs it on a more regular basis. Oh, and I also bought vitamin E capsules with the gels, so that as I make these things, I can pop in some vitamin E. Yeah, and then of course there's other vitamins if you wanted to do your research, and the vitamin E is for the healing process, just to help with the healing of whatever it is in general. Right? How much the body will absorb remains to be seen. I suppose it depends on how much you use and how often you use the product after it's been made. So, you know, in light of the signs of the times, if you don't mind spending $70 for stuff like this, and you can afford it, well then, you know, good for you. But for, you know, someone in my situation, I just thought it'd be better to do the initial investment, being that I've already got the beeswax, I've already got the jars, I've got the cocoa butter. I don't know what else I bought for it, but whatever. I've got my oil with my comfrey sitting in one jar in my room waiting to be used, and I've got my oil with organo, because organo also has healing properties, right? So, yeah. And not only that, but now because I've done this, so I'm working to help heal the outside of the body to one degree or another through absorption. I'm also now going to be like, once I get my stuff into jars, maybe get up in there a little bit. Now I'm just going to grab a couple books and get some simple little spice cakes. And if you can make spice cake, once, 2, 3 times a week, and eat spice cake, that right there is introducing those medical properties into your inside of your body, which will help with pain and anti-inflammatory and swelling and whatever people suffer from when it comes to rheumatism, arthritis, and those types of pains, right? Perhaps even joint pain when it comes to the cartilage and, or, you know, whatever, right? And, like, you know, I don't know. Because this to me is like a money pit. This, what I have right here, I don't see it as a money pit. No. Now, keep in mind, I have my lima beans in there and my quinoa, but this is just all that stuff I just showed you. I don't see this as a money pit. I see this as a means to maybe break away from coffee, where I'm drinking more than a half a cup of sugar a day. I said to Andre, I said, why does the sugar go down so much? Are you eating that sugar, Andre? Because he makes me coffee, right? You know, he must put a fair amount of sugar in it. I don't know. I like the taste of it, though. Right? I like the taste of it, right? Oh my God. But it goes down so fast. It's like there's a sugar monster in the house that's just eating up on all the sugar. And I'm like, I get suspicious. I said, Andre, like, are you just eating straight up sugar? Because I never really see him eat anything with sugar, right? Because I don't, you know, I don't buy cereals where he's got to slap on sugar, like white sugar, right? Like, I don't, right? Once in a blue moon, I'll buy Shreddies, and he might want to put sugar on there. But other than that, like, I can't see him taking a spoon of sugar and just putting it in his mouth. But the sugar goes down so fast. And I'm like, well, it can't be me. Can't be me. But I think it is me. Yeah. So I got to break away from that sugar. I have to. I've been doing it for years. 5 cups of sugar. 5 cups of sugar. At least five cups of coffee or more, depending on what I'm doing in a day, with 2 big teaspoons, probably pushing into tablespoons of sugar. Oh, come on. Yeah. So I'll be drinking dandelion tea, ginger tea with thyme. Thyme helps to clear, and that's another herb you want to use with this stuff, with the herbal the herbal medicinal rubs is thyme, because it's very potent. Yeah. So I gotta look for my thyme. I have thyme in different containers because I have thyme that grows in my yard. And then of course you can introduce rosemary. There's lots of things you can do. You just have to read up on them and see what their properties are, and try and just get an idea of, right? Like, you could use, for a standard recipe, like for example, for a rub, if you wanted to use nutmeg on the outside of your body, right, in combination with clove and everything else that you're going to use, right, you take your ratio as if you were making a spice cake and you were eating it internally. So out of a spice cake, if all you can use is a 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, right, in the spice cake, you could probably get away with a teaspoon of powdered nutmeg in your infusion of whatever you're infusing with all your other spices or herbs or whatever you're going to do. Because you're not ingesting it. You're just infusing it into the oils that you're working with initially. Right? Just stuff like that. Because 1/8 of a teaspoon isn't going to cut it. I can tell you that right now. But you wouldn't dare put 1 teaspoon of nutmeg in your spice cake. Okay? You're just asking for trouble, because your body inside wouldn't be able to handle it. Where on the outside, it's different, right? Because you have different layers of skin and that whole 9 yards. So there we go. Just do your little bit of research, figure out what it is that you want in terms of a medicinal. You see, I've been up since like 1, 2 o'clock this morning. It's already going on. Oh my God. What time is it? I can't see. 9:30. So I've been up for quite a while. Yeah, just do your research on it. Don't see it as wasting money. See it as an investment. And try and bring in those same spices and herbs or whatever into your diet. So it's a twofold anti-inflammatory program. Okay? Okay, so before I end this video, let's listen to this video. But we're probably going to come into a... food pantries. Where am I? Food pantries in America are about to become full. SNAP cut off. Okay. But you know those ads are coming, so hold on.
Hard to say.
We have discouraged too much media coverage because we're currently feeding about 420 families a week. We're at capacity.
Okay, that's families. That's not people. That's just families. More than one in a family.
In terms of our physical facilities and our volunteers, and if it were suddenly to jump to 600 people, we don't have the capacity for that.
That's true.
We have a local family has blessed us with a large parking lot for the overflow vehicles. But before we had that, the cars were literally streaming all the way down onto the highway, and the local county authorities advised us that if the cars ended up out in the highway anymore, that they would shut us down. And so we're trying to be careful not to exceed our capacity. So that's really part of the issue here too.
The impact deepening as more than 40 million people face losing
under the Fair Use Act, right?
Food benefits. The SNAP program, also known as food stamp.
I don't know why they're saying 40 when it's 42 million. What's the number? 40 was back in the day, like 15, 20 years ago, when I started the nonprofit. What, has the poverty level not budged? I think it's closer to 42 now, if not higher than that, okay?
Is set to run out of money tomorrow. Jay O'Brien is at a food bank in Washington with more. Good morning, Jay.
Yeah, Will, good morning. The clock is ticking down now to a full-blown food emergency. Crews here at the Capital Area Food Bank are stocking pallet after pallet.
So how many of these people do you think are running around looking for pain medication for arthritis and joint problems and popping this and joints popping there and rheumatism and just, you know, sprains and that kind of thing? Fractures. Comfrey will help to heal fractures. As long as your skin isn't open, bleeding, you can use Comfrey on the outside to help bone repair. Okay? And because it goes to the bone, you're getting now in towards the cartilage and yada yada and whatnot. And then you can bring in other components to help soothe your pain versus not having any kind of medicinal, I don't want to call it medical because it's not medical, it's medicinal, right? It's herbal relief or whatever, right? Just a pain relief where you can find a way to put it together as you gather up your supplies here, there, and everywhere, right? You know what I'm saying? Because people aren't thinking about heat rubs right now, but I bet you a whole lot of them could benefit from it. Oh yeah.
To go after distribution sites in Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia to feed unpaid federal workers and those thousands who are set to lose critical food assistance tomorrow as officials across the country prepare for the pain of this shutdown to spread.
Who am I here with? My name is Jared Lighton. I am one of the people who comes up here and helps with all this volunteer work to hand out food for the people.
Jared, you've been doing this since how long now?
It's probably been 15 plus years. We started out with like a camper shell in the back of a pickup that had, you know, cans and noodles and things of that nature. We eventually moved up to a single wide trailer, and then we worked our way up to a double wide trailer, and then we
Okay, so I think we're going to finish it on this. Alright? Crazy people are already shoplifting grocery stores and taking whatever they want.
Shoplifting suspects assaulting employees when they were confronted about the alleged theft. Our Jericho Tran joining us tonight with what we know.
Oh, God, under the Fair Use Act here. Can you believe this? This is YouTube spamming their ads, man. Serious. Hold on a minute. What is that?
Basement key. I have to go get the key chain.
Basement key?
You have to go get the key chain.
Well, what happened to it?
Remember my kid had borrowed it.
Why?
For the shed key.
Oh my God. We need the shed key back.
He's giving it back now.
Okay, good.
He's just calling me to come
Can you make sure they're not doing laundry so I can start at least one load?
Sure.
I gotta get ready for that meat. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with it. I want to save $200. Instead of paying $300 on that meat, I want to just pay my $100 cash and get my $200 off.
Well, police say that brawl started right here after an employee says that they saw those two women concealing some high-priced items like ribeye, lobster meat, and truffle butter. And when that employee walked up to those women to try and confront them, that is when the baskets and fists started flying. A melee at the Market Basket in West Bridgewater on Sunday.
Now, these SNAP benefits might be paid out to some degree or another because so-and-so took so-and-so to court, and now Trump is saying, well, we have a legal way to transfer at least $5 billion into that SNAP program, but it will still take a little time for it to trickle out and be deposited into state accounts, and then the states have to trickle it out into individual accounts. So you're still looking at like a week or two before anybody gets any kind of payment. And some of those payments might just end up going towards food banks and places like that, just to fill in the gap until this shutdown within the federal government in the United States gets settled. So I don't think anybody's out of the woods yet, right?
On camera by Jeff Cuddy, who filmed the ordeal from behind the safety of the carts.
I took out my video cam and then I just started videotaping. I couldn't believe it.
West Bridgewater police say a Market Basket employee saw two women attempting to walk out with high-priced items. But when the employee attempted to approach the women, that's when the fists and baskets started flying.
Hi, you guys. I'm out of the store. So they wanted $7 for this. Mind you, I don't have food stamps anymore. They cut me off. So I only had $22 left in food stamps.
Do you see how people justify bad behavior? Right? Right? In terms of thieving and all that crap. Like, I don't know what is wrong with people.
So this is what I stole. Okay? They wanted $9 for this.
You know, I get my smash and grab here and smash and grab there and smash and grab in the yard and smash and grab in the basement, smash and grab in my bedroom, right, and down the hall and in the playroom and, you know, with the smash and grab Rias and, you know, like, and they're not getting no welfare cut-offs, right? Some of these people are homeowners and other people are just, you know, the working middle class and I don't know. Like, oh, God forbid if Andre grows up with that kind of mentality. Honestly. I just don't get it.
I said, I don't got $9. Then they wanted $2 for that.
And they want to criticize me on my channel because I've done food prep all these years. I mean, like, what am I food prepping now? Spices. And it's not even so much to eat as other than, well, I get spice cake with fresh spices, but I got spices here that are perfectly fine for spice cake. I just topping things off, right? For that mental therapy. And after that, I'm not going to need no spices for quite a long time. Unless, of course, I make a lot of heat rubs and, you know, those therapeutic type rubs. And even then, I can go for a long time those, once you make those rubs, they last a long time. You know, they just don't disappear within a month. They go on for a fairly long time. You know, for the amount that you make at the cost that you make it, it's the better value, right? And you get to reuse the jar.
Sorry, it's all fucked up. It's been in my purse. $7 for this. I'm making some stuffed salmon today. These are needed. I'm not paying $7 for that. Okay?
No, you're the type of person that would just go into somebody's house, be their friend for 9 freaking years, right? Have them watch your kids for you for free, basically, you know, right? Give Andre a few dollars, but other than that, I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? As your friend gives you this and gives you, and still you're not satisfied. And as soon as your friend's back is turned and you can sneak off acting like you're talking on the phone someplace, minding your own business, little does your friend know that you're robbing them 10,000 deep blind. Yeah, cowhides and everything. Yeah. Right? You think she's just gonna stop in a freaking grocery store? I don't think so.
Let me show you the most important thing to me.
Is she justifying it? She was doing this. Look how much she has. She was doing this before this stuff even happened. You gotta be a pretty good damn thief to have all that sitting up in your purse while you're sitting in your car doing a TikTok video or a YouTube video or some kind of video, doing some kind of video. I mean, to steal all that stuff and get away with it? You've been stealing for a while. This person's been stealing for a while. She's a pro. But she did it this time because the EBT card got cut off. Yeah, okay.
Short ribs. Take off the label so that you don't beep. Get your fucking...
With her fake-ass nails, fake-ass hair, smash and grab Rhea with her fake-ass freaking hair, right? You know? And she a white woman with her braids all the way down to her ass. Well, take off your freaking braids, and the money you spend on that hair, go buy your kids some groceries instead of stealing from people who actually helped you, for crying out loud. You know? But it's in their nature, though. You see, that's the thing.
Me. How many do you think that I got?
And she proud. Look, how many of those...
How many short ribs is that?
I went grocery stealing today. Look what I got. I got a pork roast. I went grocery stealing. Take that, Walmart.
Now, social media has turned theft into performance art. People are not hiding this anymore.
Performance art. No kidding. Talk about bragging rights.
They're filming.
That's that. What is good is bad, and what is bad is good. Backwards world.
Tutorials bragging about their hauls, teaching others how to defeat security systems in stores. Now, when crime loses its shame, when it becomes something...
I'm wondering if this guy is AI generated with everything, his face, all of it, with his voice, because his voice is on more than one video in terms of a channel with different types of stories and yada. Maybe he rented out his voice. I don't know, but the voice is very familiar with other YouTube channels that use AI to generate their storylines when it comes to, like, you know, ancient history and this and that, and, you know, cowboy days in 1879 and 1845, and up in Mississippi or Louisiana and up in Texas area with the settlers and the, you know, that type of thing, eh? The narrative uses a similar voice, if not this voice, right? Because when you do your AI generated videos, you get to pick your voice.
Celebrate online. That psychological barrier protecting society starts to crumble. But
and these AI generated videos where they use visualizations of human faces and yada, it's very deceiving. Most people can't differentiate between what's real and what's not real when you're looking at them.
Here's where it gets darker, because hitting stores wasn't enough for these people.
I swear YouTube does this on purpose just so that you get frustrated and pay for their service. Yep. Sometimes these ads come in every 3 freaking minutes. 3 minutes into the video, and ads right back. Yeah. Smash and grab.
So you're gonna steal my basket full of groceries after I leave the store? Yeah, I don't think so there, Han. I've seen a lot of videos talking about how people's EBT is getting cut off, and so they're gonna be stealing groceries straight out of the store. But I've also seen a lot of videos talking about how people are gonna grab baskets whenever they come out of the store. That way they're not stealing from the store, they're stealing from an individual. Well, you grab my shopping cart full of groceries that I bought and paid for with my fucking money. You're going to hear 2 sounds. There's going to be 3 sounds. Maybe. It's certainly going to be 2 sounds. The first sound you're going to hear is me saying, now, Han, that's a bad idea there. Better walk the fuck on. If you don't walk the fuck on, that'll be the next sound you fucking hear. And the third sound, son, I'll hear it.
Open carry, right?
No, sir. I'll fucking hear it. And you fucking won't. Now, people are going to come back on this video.
Okay, YouTube staff, that's not me swearing. That's that boo-boo guy right there swearing. Okay.
You're damn right.
Under the Fair Use Act.
That person deciding to steal from me,
yeah.
they've already decided that that's what their life is worth.
Yeah.
Well, they made that decision.
I put 70% of the population to steal.
You don't fucking steal from
For
me.
no reason other than they can
Fuck
and they
around
want
find
to.
out.
I couldn't imagine
Y'all
what it would be
literally
like
sitting here
if they were
trying not to
desperate.
have a full-blown meltdown.
Yeah.
But to the person who came on my porch like 30 minutes ago and stole my groceries, thank you so much for taking from my kids. I literally spent my last $200, and during this time that we are in right now, that was literally my last. And you came on my porch and you stole everything off my porch. So thank you. Because now my kids don't have. So you literally just took out of 4 little children's mouths. And let me show you who you took from.
They don't care about that, though. Thieves don't care.
And this is what you stole.
Hell no.
So I truly and
They don't give a
wholeheartedly
shit.
hope it was worth it. And I pray that...
It's because there's something wrong with society. Right? Now, I talked to Andre about his little attitude. Tried to talk to him like a little adult. You know, you're 15 years old. You're not 4 having a tantrum. Let's try and talk about this issue because, Nana's not trying to be a mean bean here and, be over excessive with your quote-unquote grounding, as if I even want to ground you, as if that's going to solve the problem, because it doesn't. So I don't know. We talked out a little bit, so that's good. He accepted some responsibility, which is good, but now he has to work on monitoring his computer time by writing it down, and hopefully he'll do that, so that he can see for himself where the problem starts to develop when it comes to too much time on the computer, right? And then I gave him a comparison when he was turning off the computer and he was doing other things for 3, 4, or 5 hours, and then he'd go back on the computer for a couple, 2, 3, and then he'd turn it off. I was pretty impressed with that. But then he slipped. I asked him why he slipped. Oh, I don't know, Nana. Well, I said, well, you need to figure it out, okay? It's time for you to do some time management here. So let's see what happens with that one.
Nothing but evil comes to you.
I said, Andre, would you talk to an old person the way you talk to me? He said, no. I said, well, what makes it different from me? Is it because I'm a Nana? He goes, yeah, you're my Nana. I said, what, you don't see me like an old person? He said, no. Fair enough. I said, yeah, but I'm your grandmother. Grandmother means old, So you need to stop and think about that, because the more you practice bad behavior with me, being that I'm an old person, it will be easier for you to be disrespectful towards the next old person you come into contact with that you want to beak off on. And it's better if you just bite your tongue and not say anything out of respect to the old person. Whether you like what they're saying or whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, eventually you can just disconnect and remove yourself from that situation. And depending on who they are, you don't ever have to see them again. For someone like me, who's your nana, who's your grandma, who's your caregiver, it is what it is, right? And you know, you need to grow up and act your age. Grow up to be a decent human being, not a part-time freaking hoodlum, right? Yeah.
For doing that.
I told him I'm not a mean, like I'm not, I'm not like rough around the gills, you know, in terms of parenting.
Because we are all struggling, but that doesn't mean that you go and you take from others. Simply because you just want to be selfish.
People in parking lots, as they're coming out of stores, as they're loading their cars, to steal their groceries because you feel like you are owed something. Let me kind of just break it down to you like this. If you care about your kids and your family, I wouldn't be as drastic and as selfish as you're saying you're going to be, because your kids are going to probably end up in foster care. We don't live in a society where you could just do that and get away with it. The majority of people care.
But you see, that's the problem. People can. I think that's what my videos have proven. Right? It doesn't matter on what spectrum of wealth or no wealth that you're on. Look at Eleanor Gilding and what she did to Uncle John. Look what happened to Shimei's body and Sierra's body within the healthcare system, and with the Royal Mounted Canadian Police, with the cover-up of this and the cover-up of that for the trafficking of body parts. Look what happened with the trafficking of small children when it came to illegal apprehensions, and people got away with it. Big money was made off that, right? Look what happened to Amari with the birth of injury of Amari, because it happened at the time of his birth with the cover-up of that. Right? You know what I'm saying? And then my yard wiped out in January with me paying, right, $2,100 plus for that, right? And then on top of what my son has been doing with his wife, right? And then along comes Rhea, the smash and grab thief, walking off with $500 cowhides, bolts of fabric that are worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars per bolt. Food, 1 size gallon jars with freaking organic maple sugar in it that's coming in at $150 a jar, not to mention everything else that she stole from my room. I mean, it's pretty standard that our society is lacking in morality. It's systemic. It's like, seriously, people are stealing who you wouldn't think would steal. And it's not because they need it. It's because it's power tripping, usually. And then if, you know, they can benefit from it after the fact, then so be it. But initially, a lot of it's just like control. A lot of people just steal for the control, to have control of something in their lives. Right? Especially for the habitual thief, the kleptomaniac. Right?
And if you think that you're going to run up on somebody and steal their groceries and potentially target elderly people, even people who are not the ones being robbed are not going to tolerate that. So y'all are going to fuck around and you're going to find out. Don't be as big an idiot as you sound like.
Hey, what's up, America? No Snitch November. You're going to want to share this because apparently there's a trend starting called No Snitch November. You guys want to know what No Snitch November is? Why, No Snitch November is where in a store when people are stealing shit because they don't have food stamps, you're not going to snitch on them whatsoever. Yep, just let them steal. That's the
Okay, I'm going to end it on this with one day Andre and I, it was a couple years back, we were at Canadian Superstore. I don't know how we got there. Maybe it was after an eye appointment or something. Anyway, we were in a grocery store, and it was big, and we were filling up the cart, and yada-yada. Mari was with us, because I remember Mari being in the stroller, and they had coconut milk on sale for $1 a can. And my cart was already basically full, right? With the bags that we already had that I bought from someplace else. Plus we were filling up cart, as we were going through the store, because I don't normally get into a store, right? So, we just going from aisle to aisle. And I was buying this, buying that. And anyway, I came across these coconut milk at $1 a can, which coconut milk, by the way, will sit in a can for a very, 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 very long time. Okay, so anyway, I was putting them at the bottom part of the buggy, and I would have to make room. So Andre was there, the buggy was here, and I was on this side, and we were moving everything to make space for all these, cans of coconut milk at $1 a can. And then this woman came up behind me, grabbed a few cans, and took them and put them in her purse. And I seen her do that, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you're not supposed to be putting stuff in your purse, right? And she said something. She laughed, she mocked, she snickered. I don't know, she just was, ugh. And then she kind of went away, and then she came back. And she started the same stupid shit again. And I'm like, get away from me. I said, you're fucking stealing. I said, you're stealing. Like, go away from me. Like, don't use me as your decoy so that you can steal, right? And she said something, oh, no, I'm not. I said, yes, you are. You're putting that in your purse and, being all cocky and stuff. Get away, get away. I'd shoot her away, right? By the time I got to the teller, and I was going through the teller, well, I guess word got back to the teller somehow, some way. Or maybe somebody came to the teller. I don't know. Somebody that worked there ended up coming and thanking me for being loud and boisterous and calling that chick out, because they said that they, as employees, couldn't do it. And they agreed she was stealing. Yeah. And then, when we left, later on, Andre said he seen that same girl that was doing that in a car with a guy hollering and screaming at her. Yeah, hollering and screaming at her. Probably because she didn't come back with enough goods. It was stupid. But when she was doing it, she thought she was big and bad. Yeah, and she was smirking and being real cocky with me. I told her, get the heck away from me. I don't like you. I don't know. Go away. You're stealing. Why you come back? Get away. Get away. Go, go, go. Got loud. Finally, she left and she didn't come back the third time. But she did. She came back the second time. You think she would have just stayed away, but no.
Trend starting, no snitch November. So obviously I don't condone stealing in any way, shape, or form whatsoever for any reason. But even though I think this...
Groceries. You're watching the social contract tear apart in real time. But this violence, this chaos...
It was already falling apart.